So the ELIOS 3 got the program back on track. We turned the data out in a day. The scan to BIM project was done within the week, and the client happily moved on with the rest of the project. Hi, I'm James Arnott. I'm the Managing Director for the Plowman Cravenın inspection team. And Plowman Cravenın as an entity has focused in the last few years in survey and now inspection. And survey operates across all spheres of that, which includes anything in the geospatial arena like built and measured surveys, utilities, topos, scan to BIM, floor plans, area measurement, and we've excelled at that for a number of years. And the inspection division is looking to take it to a new era in a diverse sector that we're seeing rapidly evolve. For the ELIOS 3 has been predominantly a lot of existing packages of work we've had that we've always had challenges where areas just aren't represented. So what we've been able to do is enter into loft spaces, cavities, tunnel networks. We've had a really successful one with Bishopsgate's Goods Yard recently, which is a multi-million-pound project, which has essentially been put on hold because there was areas that we couldn't get into survey. They were deemed too hazardous, they were too dangerous to think of conventional means. And ELIOS 3 enabled us to get this project back on track for the client. Recently, kind of one of the big impacts for our client was a major redevelopment in central London. There's some historic train sheds that have been redeveloped into a multi-million-pound complex of high-rise office buildings, accommodation and commercial units. And it's all part of London's big initiative of upcycling and renewing to really bring vibrancy to areas of the city that have become dilapidated. One of the big problems we found that there was basement levels within it, so Plowman Cravenın were commissioned to do an entire scan to bin of the project to enable them to understand what they were working with, what they could save, what they'd have to repair and renew, and how we were going to create this digital plan to aid in their master planning. We got through the 90% of the project and then found these basements that nobody had been aware of, and these were running adjacent to train lines, they were running underneath the structure, and they were hazardous for entry. We had no idea as to the structural condition of them. There was dilapidated steelwork, concrete, brickwork, and areas that hadn't been seen in 200 years. So what this meant was we were able to come up with a solution for the client. The project had effectively stalled. We were then able to bring the ELIOS 3 in. We entered these quite hazardous environments and within a single day mapped the entirety of them, which meant there was no exposure to dust, pigeon detritus, feces, things like that, or brick dust or anything else nasties that we would have put humans into, especially structural failures. And for the client, it was just an absolute no. No one was going in there. So the ELIOS 3 got the program back on track. We turned the data out in a day. The scan to BIM project was done within the week, and the client happily moved on with the rest of the project. The level of detail of the ELIOS 3 in conventional BIM workflows has been between what we would refer to as LOD 100 to 200. We are finding that we're able to top up in small areas with photogrammetry that we're using in extraction, but that again is a case-by-case basis. And we are finding it's very much dependent on what we're surveying, how we're doing it, and what kind of access. Obviously, long linear sewer tunnel networks have become a lot easier with the new updates to what we would conventionally get, but there's still challenges that you need kind of experts in the room to understand what it is and how we can best fly the equipment and deploy it to get what we need.